Hello. Okay, so one of the funnest things that I do as a makeup artist is one-on-one trainings and tutorials with ladies that want to learn how to do their makeup better. And so I thought with that, let's just bring it to you guys and see if we can kind of tweak some of your makeup routines at home. And I don't know if you can tell, but each side of my face looks different. And on this side, I did some common mistakes that I see ladies making. And on this side, things that I think just enhance your beauty a little bit better. So we're going to get into some of those common mistakes. And you might not make all of them, but if you make one or two, I'm going to show you how to tweak it just a little bit to make it better for you. So let's jump in. Okay, so on this side of my face, I used an expensive Marc Jacobs full coverage foundation. And it's beautiful. I mean, it's definitely flawless. One of the things I did was stop at my jawline. I didn't take it down on my neck. And it's mattifying, which a lot of people like, and it's long wearing, but it also flattens my face. So you can see there's not just a whole lot of dimension there. I did not add contour to my face, except for in one spot. We'll get to that, but you can just see the difference. Now over here, I have something here. Hold on. So on this side of my face, I have Saint Beauty, and the 3D foundation consists of highlight and contour. That is the whole foundation. And the whole premise is that a natural face has crevices and, ins and outs and corners and edges. And that's what we want to showcase, that we are 3D. We are not one-dimensional. And so with the highlighting and contouring, I have created a 3-dimensional face. And so for the same amount as the one foundation over here, I have 3 colors. I have a dark contour color. I have an all over highlight color, and then I have a pop highlight color. And I also have place for a 4th color in my palette. And 4 of these colors would be the same price as this one full coverage, very expensive foundation from Marc Jacobs. So, I wanted to showcase this for 2 reasons. One of the reasons I chose to do a full coverage on one side is because I think people see that there are, highlights and contours, and they think, gosh, that's so unnatural. I'm just going to stick with my BB cream. Well, honestly, this is what a BB cream does too. It may not be as full coverage, but it's actually very highly pigmented, and it's also very thick. And so while you're looking for natural, that's not the way to achieve it. Sometimes it's a little bit more. It's going in, and basically I am removing some blemishes and color correcting over here, but I'm creating such a beautiful, soft face, whereas over here it just feels like a mask. And if I had it all over my face and maybe I contoured as well, it would be more of a head-to-head if I contoured this side also. But I just wanted you to see the most common mistake I see is people slapping on one color, done. And it's not as attractive as it could be. This shortens my forehead over here. Okay, so for this side, I used bronzer to contour. The reason why I don't like bronzer to contour is it's meant to warm up the skin, and it's not going to cast a shadow. The other thing I did was I followed that line, which I feel like a lot of ladies have been taught, and that's not correct. Oh, that has brought down the side of my face. You can see I followed it in, whereas over here, it's higher. I put it right under that cheekbone, right at the top of my ear, and you can see what it does. It pushes up. We all want that lift, right? That's what it's for there. So that's what I did on that side. That is with a bronzer color. And over here, I used a contour color, which is more ash and more like a shadow as opposed to warming up the skin. Okay, so I was talking and forgot to press the button. Let me see if I can get that out again. The other thing is concealer. So one of the common mistakes that I see ladies doing is picking a concealer color that is way too light for their skin. They're trying to brighten up this area, and they choose a color that is 3-4 shades lighter than their foundation shade. It's a little too bright. And as we age, that's problematic because the lighter the color, the more it's going to show texture. And under our eyes, it's just a delicate area. We're going to have a lot of lines there. It's just unavoidable. And so the lighter you go under your eyes as we age, the more we're going to accentuate those lines. So be very careful when picking a color to go under your eyes, and choose something maybe a shade to 2 shades lighter, depending on what your beginning baseline is. And then also something very emollient that will not dry down. On this side, the concealer is also part of my foundation. So everything is the same formula, everything's the same consistency, and so it's gonna blend seamlessly. And so that's what I used over there, and it's only like a shade to shade and a half lighter than my foundation color. Okay, so moving on, let's go to brows. The biggest common mistake that I see, now I have naturally full brows because I let them grow in when I was pregnant with my daughter. And there's a lot of common mistakes that I could have picked that kind of annoy me. But the biggest one is doing nothing. And so on this side, I did nothing to my brows. You can see they stopped short over here. And here I just filled in. Okay, it looks very natural. I took it to the angle that it needs to go. Don't be afraid to fill in your brows. What that's gonna do is, you can see it kind of lifts up this side of my face, and it is really anchoring in. And those of you that don't have full brows, it's even that much more critical that we draw those in. Okay, before I forget, blush. Blush should be done about 1 finger to 2 finger widths away from the nostril. Over here, I think I started and forgot what I was doing, and so I kind of pulled it back. But a lot of people just focus blush on the apples of the cheek. We are multifaceted, and so people can be looking at us from this side all the way around. We don't want something to just stop in the front. So it's important that we kind of blend the blush back. We're not looking for an 80s going up, but you just want to flush kind of all the way back, and we don't want to stop short so that as soon as we turn, we see a line. Just make sure you're blending that blush, a little bit back. This is what happens when I try to go super fast. But also keeping a little bit of a distance between those nasal labial folds so that it doesn't all blend together, and we can still keep this light and bright. Now for the eyes. Okay, never, lean in. Never are we going to put a shimmer shadow on the brow bone. Unless you are 12 to 16, you can probably get away with it. Let's not do that. We're not going to put a shimmer over here, especially those ladies that have a hooded eye like I do. When you put a shimmer and light are going to bring forward. And so all I'm doing is I am drawing all kinds of attention to this little fat pad right here that is hanging, and it looks heavier, and it is more, it is coming forward. And so let's not do that. We do want to lighten under the brow, but we don't want to use a shimmer. The other thing is, we want to make sure that we are bringing our dark all the way up onto that little. Okay, so I was saying we want to make sure that our dark is brought up far enough that when I'm looking straight on, you can see the color. What that's going to do is it's actually going to make part of that hooded area recede back, because dark recedes, light comes forward. So when we bring the dark up onto that hooded area, we are actually making it fall into the background and bringing those lashes forward. So it's kind of critical that you bring it far up. I think people don't want to bring color onto this area because they don't want to draw attention to it, but that's counterintuitive. In fact, it's actually going to make it recede and kind of disappear when we do that. The other thing is, like I said, just making sure that we bring it over, over that line. Another thing is I like to add a pop of highlight in the center or closer to the nose, just to open the eyes up a little bit. Next, okay, let's talk about eyeliner. Also, I wanted to say on this side, I did not use a primer on my lid, and this side I did. And I just feel like the colors pop more, and they are just, they will definitely stay longer. I just think that they look better. But now eyeliner. On this eye, I did eyeliner all the way across, but I didn't taper it. So one of the things I see ladies doing is using the same thickness of liner from this end to this end, and we are not elongating the eyes that way. We're actually closing them in. When you do liner, you want to make sure that it's thinner to thickest. We are drawing the eyes out, and we are creating a tapered almond eye that way. So if you're going to use liner, just make sure that it's got a tapered effect to it. Now lashes. One of the things that I see people making a mistake on when they put on fake lashes is taking the lash all the way down to the very corner of their eye. You can see on this eye, it is pulling my eye down. It kind of looks like a downturned eye. On this eye, I stopped short. I want that angle. I want to make sure that I'm keeping this line clear. I'm trying to pull up on the eye. That is what is youthful. And that's kind of our goal with when we do makeup or we add anything to our faces. We want to make sure that we are keeping aesthetically pleasing lines. And this is not. When it comes down and it's kind of breaking that natural upturn here, I'm pulling the eye down there, and I don't want to do that. Lastly, I put eyeliner inside the waterline. Now, this isn't a blanket no for everybody, but if we're trying to make our eyes look larger, the best thing to do is take a lighter color than the liner you used on top and lightly smoke out that lash line underneath the lashes and not necessarily the waterline, which can have a tendency to close off the eye. Another thing I'll say about liner is sometimes I see ladies only lining the bottom. That is really not kind of the best way to utilize liner. What we want to do is we want the heaviness, I think, to be on the top line. We don't want to draw the eye down, okay? So we want everything to kind of be up and lifted. So if you only do liner on the bottom, we are really drawing this eye down inadvertently, and it's not the best use of that liner. The liner's goal is to kind of fill in some of those gaps between the lashes to make it look like your lashes are so thick and full that there's no space in between them. And so that's what we're doing on the lash line on the top. And if we don't do that on the top, but only do it on the bottom, it kind of throws off like the natural aesthetic of the eye. Marilyn Monroe's artists used to do a smoked out liner on the bottom and kind of would draw it out a little bit. And their idea was that they were giving her these bedroom eyes, that the lashes were so thick and full, they were kind of casting a shadow on the bottom. And so that's where we get this like kind of smoked out lash line, that it is just so full on the top that, it's casting a shadow. And so just think about the reasoning behind what you are doing, and is it really achieving what you are trying to get out of it? That's kind of a great rule of thumb. So now we're going to move on to lips. So lips. On this side, I just filled in my lip and cheek just inside the corners. Now, that is not wrong. It looks great, and you can do that. But if you were trying to make your lips look larger, one of the tricks is to just lightly contour with your contour color outside the edges. That way we don't have a harsh line where we're drawing in a lip, but we have cast a shadow, so it looks like the lips are more voluptuous and coming forward, and then you kind of pat in the lipstick inside. It also is going to help your lipstick stay a little bit longer. So that is kind of it. I feel like a crazy person. I feel like it's kind of hard to see, but these are the don'ts or the could be betters. And then here is the do's. And I hope that that helps you guys figure out how to create looks for yourself.